One Trek podcast. I am Fred Lambert, your host, and I'm joined by Seth Wintram. Ready for a big show this week, Seth?
Oh yeah.
All right, we have a big one, and for the people that are tired to hear us talking about Tesla all the time, we actually have not that much Tesla news and a lot of other AV views, like a lot. So stay tuned for that on the later half of the show. But let's discuss what everyone is talking about this week. Is the whole situation about the layoffs at Tesla? What's happening with that? So if you've been following the progression of that news, it started earlier in the week when we caught an email from Elon to employees. There was two emails actually. First, it was an email to executive, and then after that, an email to everyone. So there was some confusion about that. At first, people were thinking, okay, he's only talking about the executive, but no, it was talking about everyone. It was basically a call to come back to work in the office. He said that, and I'm quoting here, anyone who wishes to do remote work must be in the office for a minimum, and I mean a minimum of 40 hours per week, or depart Tesla. This is less than we ask of factory workers. So, basically, if you want to do remote work, you have to do 40 hours in the office. Is basically telling people like you have to work in the office. Like, I know that people at Tesla can work hard, sometimes more than 40 hours, but we know what he's trying to do here. Uh, then he added in a follow up email, the one to everyone, says the more senior you are, the more visible you must be. The more visible must be your presence. He's talking like Yoda. This is why I live in the factory so much. Okay, so that so that was on the line. So so that those on the line see me working alongside them. If I had not done that, Tesla would long ago have gone bankrupt. All right. So there was different ways to look at this. Like, if you take it at the face value, you have to assume that Elon believes that the best work is done in the office and not remotely. Which, I mean, you could argue if that's true or not. Um, but for that's what the way he sees it, because he called remote working. He called it phoning it in, like which is in my poor understanding of the English language. It's like an expression used when people are not really like they are halfway working. They're just like,
Yep.
yeah, that's what I thought. So obviously, remote work has become extremely popular in the last few years with the pandemic. It has become required in some cases, and a lot of companies they've been trying to get people back to work for the most part, back to the office, I should say, but a lot of them have opened up to the idea of allowing more people to do remote work. They find that in most cases, people are actually more productive. So it works out for everyone. Elon seems to disagree. But the other way to see it, if you don't look at the face value and you look at the actual result of his call back to the office, is that it's basically a way to lay people off without laying them off.
Right.
Like, just
And a lot of
making them
people
quit.
kind of assume that right from the get-go.
Yeah, that was the assumption for many people. Like, because a bunch of people just are not going to want to do that, and the market right now for work is extremely competitive. So you can just move to a company that's going to allow you to do your work remotely. And um, now, why would Elon want wave of layoff? Tesla is pretty well secured financially, um, though you can always get better. But the way I see it more is Tesla had a big wave of hiring during the pandemic. So Tesla has hired a lot. I think they went from 2020 like 80,000 people to 100,000 people. So they are hired to 20,000 people over the last 2 years, maybe like 1,500 over the last like 12 to 16 months, something like that. So this is a big wave of hiring. And when you hire in mass like that, like tens of thousands of people, there's inevitably some inefficiency in your hiring, and either you don't hire the right people for the right jobs, or you end up hiring too many, like one job, a role that you thought, a job that you thought would take like four people to do, maybe it takes two, or vice versa, or whatever. There's a bunch of inefficiencies. So it makes sense after a big wave of hiring like that to do a wave of layoff to level things down. Like, this is common for me, even companies that don't have any financial issues. It's just improve efficiencies. And the thing too is like Tesla has been hiring heavily during the pandemic when everyone was working remotely. So it didn't even bother to build office spaces, build parking spaces, or anything like that to support those people, because it didn't need to. People were working remotely. So even asking everyone to come back to work is literally impossible. Like Elon knows, or at least he should know, that as asking that is asking for to I mean, I shouldn't say layoffs, but to have people leave. But then I should say layoff, because later on the week, that's weird. Later on the week, there was two other emails. First, an email that we didn't see. It was reported by Reuters. It was an email just to a few executives, apparently. So we only have bits and pieces of the email, in which Elon says that he has a super bad feeling about the economy. The quote here is super bad feeling. And he wants to cut 10% of the jobs at Tesla. So it's a more clear layoffs. I mean, again, some of that would have been taken care of organically through just forcing people to get back to the office. But it looks like part of it, at least, is going to have to be um, done by Tesla, some actual layoffs. But then what was clarified in another email that we obtained later on today, uh, after the report from Reuters about the executive email, Elon sent an email to all Tesla employees where it clarified that the 10% of layoff is for salaried employees only, so people that are paid by the year. Well, I mean, you get your check every month or whatever, but
Not by the hour.
yeah, you're not an hourly employee. He said that uh, the employee staff will actually hourly employee staff will actually increase. So the quote is, Tesla will be reducing salaried headcount by 10% as we have become overstaffed in many areas. So he changed the reason here, like from the email to executive, apparently closer to what I said earlier about just the efficiency of being of hiring so much, you become overstaffed. You went to that instead of saying I have a bad feeling from the economy. Let's tighter our belt a little bit. And then he said, note, this does not apply to anyone actually building cars, battery packs, or installing solar. Hourly headcounts will increase. So basically, no one that works on the production line, no one that sells cars, no one that delivers cars, no one that installs solars. All of those jobs are secured, which is a good clarification, because Elon has an history of making brash announcement that threaten Tesla employees' job, and then backing away from it. So
Are people who work at stores considered salaried, or are they?
I think they are hourly. I think like at least the entry level people are hourly, and then maybe the managers or salaried employees.
Hmm,
But I would think that those jobs are mostly secured, because like you need a manager for those stores. So
right.
unless this is talking about shutting down more stores. I don't know. But yeah, it was like now it's sent Tesla stock dropping like 8%. Last time I checked today. It's it's a
Yeah,
bummer
down
for
nine
Tesla shareholders,
point
because
two.
what is it?
It's down 9.22% today.
9.2%. Whoa. Yeah, it was bummer, because basically Tesla raised the gain that they did throughout the week, because Tesla was coming back up during the week, and now this does it. When I think the way that the news came out, I think is what like it could have been better if the news was handled in a better way. The way it came out, and again, Fred is going to call for PR. Like, I'm not even saying that anymore. I don't even care. I'm just saying that if the news was just Tesla is cutting down 10% of jobs in order to improve the efficiency after a mass hiring period of 2 years. Like, all right, that makes a ton of sense. That's actually good for the financials of the company. Makes sense. But then it came out of instead Elon saying that he has a super bad feeling about the economy. Then that sounds bad. That sounds like he expects a big downturn, and he wants Tesla to be ready for it. Um, so that I think that contributed to it.
Did you see the Joe Biden comment, by the way?
Yeah. I saw what he said, but I mean,
Elon can't
he-
say Joe Biden's ignoring him anymore.
yeah, but I didn't like his response, because like he said other people are hiring, so like what's the
Yeah.
problem? But like if he has a super bad feeling about the economy, he's kind of saying that it might be a mistake what they're doing. So I don't know, but in fact it cannot be a mistake because the actual job that he listed, like Ford and Stellantis hiring for building electric vehicles, which those companies need to do anyway, otherwise they will go bankrupt if they stick to their gas powered car business.
Right.
All right, do you have anything else to say about this layoff or?
I don't know. I mean, when we're talking about Ford, those expansion was planned probably years in advance.
Hmm.
And you're right, they need to get into EVs. Feels like every month, Farley is saying, we're going to double down on electric again. It just double,
Well,
double, double, double.
this announcement was a little bit weirder because it was like 3.6 billion announcement, 6,000 jobs, and all that. But like a big chunk of it was going to producing the Mustang, the new
Right,
Mustang, the new Ranger, which so far, as far as we know, are not electric.
right.
Uh, then to investment to expand production of the F-150 Lightning to 150,000 units next year. That was already announced. So I'm like, all right, that's not really news. Like you guys announced that like now and you approve the investment that you already said is going to happen. So the only really real new EV investment that I saw in this announcement was 1.5 billion for a new commercial electric vehicle to be produced in Ohio. So that could be fun, but
And
we
then
don't
they
know
didn't
what.
say anything about that vehicle.
Nope, nothing whatsoever.
Hmm.
All right, this is exciting. This is good news for the people that are waiting for the Cybertruck, and I know there's a lot of people waiting for the Cybertruck. In the last few weeks, Hydra produced the producer of the Giga Press, the giant die casting press that they do. Been working with Tesla for a long time. In the last few weeks, they've been teasing this 9,000-ton press that they are building. They are putting together like this. This is them putting an assembly of it. Um, they've been teasing that we're gonna unveil it in June. It's the future of casting. It's giant and all that. It was rumored that it was gonna be for Tesla because Tesla is the one that pushed Hydra to make those bigger casting machine because they wanted it to do for the Model Y to do the rear casting in one piece and then the front casting in one piece and just bolt them together with the structural battery pack. So they needed that for a while, and Hydra built for Tesla the new largest casting machine in the world. The was a 6,000 pound one. So like 9,000 pound, like this is a 50% increase in capacity. This is a giant, much bigger machine than the already previously well record machine. So over the last few weeks, people have been rumored that it was for Tesla and specifically for the Cybertruck. And Elon confirmed it this week that this is going to be the machine that's going to build a Cybertruck body. So why is this interesting? Is because the Cybertruck body, of course, is made of this exoskeleton, stainless steel exoskeleton system that we knew was going to require a completely new manufacturing way because the way that he first described it, Elon, I think he said it's going to be like origami but with sheet metal to build the body of the electric pickup truck. So you can imagine what kind of machine you need to to do that. And apparently, it's a 9,000-ton die casting machine. The other way that he described it too is like if you look at the toy, like making a toy car costs nothing because they make it in one piece. So I don't know if the truck is going to be made in one piece, but it's going to be pretty close, as close as it gets, really. No update, of course, on the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck timeline. It looks like it's still going to be early next year if all goes well. But this is one of the rare encouraging moment when it comes to the Cybertruck getting to production. Is like this is actual equipment that looks like Tesla's going to take delivery of relatively soon.
Do you still have your reservation?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any hope of the Rivian or F-150 getting to Canada anytime soon. It's just the demand is so strong, and they're not in a hurry to jump to a new market.
Yeah.
All right, that came out yesterday. Elon announced that Tesla may have a working prototype of the Optimus humanoid robot by September 30th, which is the new date of the Tesla AI Day number 2. Earlier in the last month, Elon said that the day would be on August 19, which is a year to the date from the first Tesla AI Day. But now it's going to be September 30th, and he gave the reason for the delay, that we may have an Optimus prototype by then, working by then. So that's actually what he said last year when he first announced the project. This project is moving fast. Like, if you remember when he had the little robot, fake robot human in a suit, basically come on
There was
stage.
no robot. It was
Yeah,
a guy in a suit.
yeah. Do the little dance on stage, and I mean, if you go back and watch that, I mean, obviously the dance is just like a little joke, but Elon talking up, he doesn't sound excited about it. He basically present the project as like, look, we already are expert in batteries and power electronics and computer vision and AI. So like our cars are basically robot on wheels. Like we can probably make a humanoid one, and if we don't do it, somebody else will. So and we think we can do it safer. I'm like, all right, this sounds like a very exciting project that you guys are in. Like we can do it, so we're gonna do it. But then it's changed quick over the last year. Elon's been talking about instead like that it can be revolutionary for economies, what it can do. He even said that he thinks that the program could lead to Tesla being involved in developing general artificial intelligence, which would be like a world changer, really. So this is, and then of course he always says people are not understanding the extent of the impact of the robot and everything. I think everyone understand the impact. Is just like, can they do it? And he's
Right.
like, oh, we're gonna have, because of course when he when he unveils it, like we just said, he had some guy in a weird suit doing a dance. Like you have nothing at that point.
Could that have been like a last second? I mean, that couldn't have been the plan, right?
We had zero evidence whatsoever that they've been working on that until that point. The first job posting for that came out after the event, but that doesn't mean that internally they couldn't have some people like spending some time on the project. But yeah, moving from, as far as we know, nothing on in August 2021 to now a year later being close to have a working prototype, and then even crazier, Musk said that next year they might start production of the robot, which is a wild thing to say, but kind of normal day to day thing for Elon. So if you're not familiar with the Tesla bot, now Tesla Optimus program, the goal is to create a humanoid, like 5 foot something robot that can do repetitive and or dangerous tasks that humans don't want to do or can do. That it can be related to manufacturing, and he did hint that Tesla likely would be the first customer of the Tesla bot and use them in their manufacturing process as worker robots. But eventually to improve the system behind the robots, much like Tesla with the self-driving system, and get to a point where it can do practically anything, which of course is gonna, if they can get there, it's like I said, it's gonna be world changing.
Yeah. So the thing, I guess, the high level thing that I just don't understand is that, both for self driving and this robot, Elon has tasked his employees, I guess, with solving real world AI, like kind of like one of the things that would change the world. Like, self driving itself would be a huge deal, but like to get to self driving without use of lidar or anything, you need to
Mm.
basically be as smart as a human. And that, to me, it's like you've now tasked your employees with like changing the world. And like one of the like goalposts of like history, when like you have like the printing press and like this
Mm.
thing. And it just, for me, it's like, I don't know, the goalposts are just flying all over the place. I can't, for me, it just doesn't seem like they're solving one problem. It just keeps moving all over the place.
Yeah, Elon has not quite said that specifically, but it almost sounds like FSD has been so difficult to achieve that you might think that now you need AGI to achieve
Right.
FSD. So now that's why, like, you literally said that the priority has moved to the Tesla Bot project and everything. Maybe not over FSD, but
Well, I guess it's one and the same, right? You
it
need like
almost.
artificial general intelligence to solve the FSD problem, given the
I mean,
hardware
if
these cars
you
have.
have general artificial intelligence, you have solved FSD.
Yeah,
There's
you
no way
solved a
about
lot
it.
of a lot of
Yeah,
problems.
yeah, still a lot of problem, but so
But
it
that's
has
a
been so hard for Tesla to get to FSD, and they're not there yet. They're getting close, but not quite there. So you would think that this is such a narrow intelligence. Like, I know some dumb people that can drive a car pretty well.
right,
Like, so getting from there to general artificial intelligence, it sounds like madness. But I don't know. There's some smart people out there.
right.
That's a pretty cool image. Um, all right, that was actually the last piece on Tesla this week. I'm gonna already move up to other EVs. The iX1, BMW iX1 was unveiled this week. This is the new entry-level electric car from BMW. So the X1 is their popular, like, compact SUV vehicle, and it's basically the entry line, and it's getting a new version that was unveiled this week, a new X1 version, and it comes in five different. Well, I think actually it's going to be seven different version. I'm not. Yeah, there's two petrol version, two diesel version, and later they didn't say when exactly. There's going to be the electric version, which is going to be the iX1, consistent with BMW's naming scheme with electric vehicle. And I think there's going to be two other plug-in version also later on, but they didn't discuss those plug-in version. So the one that we care about is the BMW iX1 xDrive 30. That's the electric vehicle. It comes with a dual motor all-wheel drive powertrain, outputting 230 kilowatts, which is 313 HP horsepower. This is a nice little powertrain, of course, a cable style powertrain. And in terms of battery pack, they didn't disclose the capacity of the pack, but they claim it's going to have a range of 413 to 438 kilometers. That's 257 miles to 272 miles. That's the WLTP standard too, so you can expect a closer real world range closer to probably 200, 220 miles of range. That's about it. They didn't release much more. They released, of course, some images of the. Whoop, can I click on those? All right. Some images of the vehicle, something that you wouldn't be too surprised about coming from a BMW. Again, they are starting to use the more classic kidney grill instead of the elongated one that we've seen in a bunch of recent BMW electric, like the i4 and the iNext. People calling it the beaver teeth and things like that. Um, I know a lot of people are not fan of this version of it too, but I think at least it's a lot better than the beaver teeth. We don't have pricing yet. Probably closer to the end of the year when the vehicle is going to launch in Europe. Um, but in the US, the X1, sorry, starts at 35,000. So that's always an issue when an automaker launches the same version that's gas powered, energy powered. Oftentimes, there's a big difference in pricing that people
Well,
that yeah.
the 7,500 alone is going to put it at 45, 4250 or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
if they could charge 4250, that would be good. I think probably closer to 50,000. If I had to guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
They'll make a premium package or whatever.
But it's a nice little size SUV. Like, it's definitely more compact. Like, it would be. I don't know what exactly what competitor would be in that segment right now. Probably like a Kona or something like
Yeah,
that.
I was thinking that.
Yeah,
Nero Kona.
yeah. DeLorean. The DeLorean is coming back. They've been teasing it over the last year that they are relaunching the company, like the brand. I think are they based in Texas now? I
Sure.
don't know. I don't know if Jamie went into that, but the CEO is Joyce DeVries, who, if I remember correctly, was CEO of Karma. Was it?
Yep. And before that, he was the Roadster guy.
Yeah, in charge of the service program of the Roadster and Tesla. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it's a 2+2 kind of elongated coupe, low slung they call it. That's a good word. 0.23 of drag coefficient.
That's good.
Yeah, it looks sleek. Like I like some. Why can I like click on pictures anymore? That's weird.
The
I don't know if
gallery. Weird.
hmm The gull-winged doors are coming back, of course. You don't have the classic because the stainless steel exterior that is gone. You can have some colors on the DeLorean. Um, what else? Do we have any specs? All right, specs 0 to 60 in 2.99 seconds. I think they also did the 0 to 88 miles per hour
That's awesome.
uh, as a kind of Easter egg with the movie Back to the Future. That will take 4.35 seconds, which is also impressive in itself. Top speed. The power comes 100 kilowatt hour battery pack for good for more than 300 miles of range. Yeah, I mean I would think so. It's just a 2+2. I mean I don't know how big it is really, but yeah, 300 miles of range sounds like very doable in a 100 kilowatt hour pack. Top speed on 155. They haven't released the price. Jamie estimates in mid to high 100,000. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if does the DeLorean brand still has enough appeal to convince people to buy that instead of like a Lucid or MLS or
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be cool, but the problem is like these companies that are just names and prototypes. Like it's not that easy to go from, as Elon Musk says,
yeah.
making a prototype is easy.
Yeah, the
Mass
production is
produce.
always an order of magnitude more difficult, but I mean, even I'm saying even assuming that they get to production and everything, like how, like it's.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
know.
a few
It's not a
people,
mass
but
market car for sure.
yeah, it's gonna be an expensive vehicle. It looks cool. They did a good job with the renders, but they are
Right.
renders. It's not a working prototype. Looks like the gull-wing doors will sway some people. There's gonna be some nostalgia involved, but yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll keep an eye on the project, but I'm not overly excited as of yet. Definitely keep an eye on it. All right, we went from $100,000+ car to the Bolt EV and EUV.
Oh wait, before we get to that, I think we skipped over the VW ID.Buzz.
Did we?
Did we talk about
Oh,
that?
my bad. I skipped from the BMW to the DeLorean. Yeah, we got a price of the ID.Buzz through the pre-booking they called it that they open in the UK and other places in Europe. So we got the European price, which is not the perfect. You cannot directly transfer it to the US price or North American prices, but pretty close. So we're excited about the ID.Buzz for a bunch of reasons, but the price was one. There was a bunch of reports that came out last year that said it might start under $50,000. So if it started around that price, like I know you can build it up with a bunch of features and whatever, but uh, it starts around that price. With what you can do with the van, it's pretty good. But actually, with the prices that are coming out now, it looks like it won't be nowhere near that. In the UK, it starts at 57,000 pounds, which is the equivalent of 72,000 USD. Though I assume that they have the taxes in there, so without the taxes, it comes down to about 60,000, the equivalent of 60,000 USD. But that's just with again going with the exchange rate. So the actual price could be different, but it looks like it's going to start over $60,000. Which I mean, I scanned the comments on that, and people are a bit disappointed, of course. But I don't know. 258 miles of range on WLTP. Uh, it's not bad for sure. It doesn't. I mean, if you load it up and everything, and you make it like a camper, like a lot of people want to use it as, I don't know. It starts to get expensive, I think. But Well, we'll have to wait and see. Did VW ever release some booking and for like some reservation numbers on that?
No, I
I
don't
mean,
think
I
we.
guess no, I guess they are just opening it now. Like if it's called pre-booking, I hope this is the very first type of reservation process that they have on it. So yeah, I guess they're probably gonna announce something in the next few weeks how that went. But I'd be curious to see.
Yeah, I mean, anecdotally, a lot of people I know are excited about it, and then of course I tell them, well, it's not going to be in the U.S. for another like
Mm.
3 years, and it's kind of a letdown.
3 years?
I mean, well, it's 2 years from.
They said the deliveries in North America are going to start in 2023 next year.
No, that's not right.
Yeah, from the unveiling, I had that.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought it was like 2025.
they had the list is not perfect, but let me see. I had okay, so important anticipated date. So start of European ID.Buzz cargo production, first half of 2022. So the production should have already have started on both the cargo and the consumer version in the first half of 2022. Then European launch, initial countries, third quarter of 2022. So initial launch, that's actual deliveries, I think, when they say launch. Start of advanced sales in Europe, initial countries, May 22. So that's what we're seeing right now, the pre-booking in May 2022. North American debut of long wheelbase 2023. Oh, unless I got that wrong. What's that mean, debut in this case? If it's not launch, it's not. The North American sales launch in 20. Yeah, you might be right. It might be 2024 then. Because the debut and also, it's not clear
Right.
anyway, but yeah, 2023, 2022, the long base, the long
Long
wheelbase.
wheelbase.
So,
Yeah,
so
I
it's not the long wheelbase we're seeing right now.
guess not.
I wonder if that cannot be the price for the cargo version of it though, not right? To
Yeah,
57
maybe
thousand
that's why
pounds.
they thought the
Yeah,
50,000.
yeah, that would make sense. Oh, well, 10,000 less. Yeah, I mean, if you have a bare interior, that's probably about right. All right.
Yeah,
The Bolt EV and EUV is $6,000 price cut that came out of the blue this
crazy.
week. Yeah, yeah, this is a big one. So if you're not familiar with the prices of those cars, it basically brings the price down to 25,600 for the Bolt EV and 27,200 for the EUV. Um,
What's crazy about that is like a 2017, if you go on like, you know, Auto Tempest or whatever, and you do a search for a 2017 Chevy Bolt, which is like the first year they came out, you can find a nice, low mileage one. It's about $25,000. So they're lowering the
mm.
price very close to a 5-year-old used one.
I would have to assume that it's going to badly affect the prices of those. Well, badly, I mean, or good for people that actually want to buy them. It's probably going to bring the
I mean, how
price
much?
down.
I don't understand what happened here. Like, are there bolts like out on the lots? I don't think there's like a lot of bolts just sitting out in the lots.
Yeah, well, they restarted deliveries of new orders just a few months ago, like because of the replacement program for the battery pack that took forever. Um, we thought they were still selling like okay, like well, first of all, that was never a huge vehicle program for GM. They never produced hundreds of thousands of units per year.
We could have been.
So they could have, yeah, for sure, but didn't happen. So it's not like they're sitting on a ton of them, but we have to assume that they're having some issues selling them if they are lowering the price. Well, everyone else is increasing the price right now. We've been speculating for a while though that it's the end of the EV UV program because of is it the Blazer that's coming out and
Equinox,
Equinox
Blazer.
and Blazer. Well, the Equinox is a bit. Which one is the biggest? I think the
I
Equinox
thought
is
the
the bigger.
Blazer was bigger, but
Uh,
maybe not.
but yeah, I think they were both a little bit bigger than the EV and EUV. Maybe the EUV is like the same size as one of them, but with those coming at cheaper prices using the Yulcium platform that's much more efficient, and then this version that's basically like a hasn't changed much since 2019 was the refresh, and even then the refresh wasn't a major refresh. So But yeah, it's still surprising to see that they feel the need to reduce it to $25,000. But it's good. I mean, there's nothing at that for a new EV right now. There's nothing in that price range. So
And I have to say, like, the Bolt is a very good car. Like,
yeah,
I owned one for 3 years.
when they
Like,
don't catch on fire.
when they don't catch on fire, that's obviously, I mean, that's a very important caveat, but, um, I enjoyed it. I think about that, like, car all the time. Like, I wish, it was easier to get into my Model 3. I wish, like, I had CarPlay, that kind of stuff. Just I can't it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, to me, GM really is just, like, crazy. They engineered a really nice car, 5 years ago, and they're just all over the place with it.
Maybe it's at the dealership levels that they're having issues to selling them. Like, 'cause, they rely on a whole third party system to
Right.
deliver those cars and to sell them, really. And maybe that's what's like we've been hearing from Ford this week. Ford has been like really thinking about this. If we're going all in on electric vehicles, we have to rein in our dealership and make sure that they are not price gouging people with the demand for them and all that. So the they realize that it can be a problem. Audi, way back, Audi saw it coming too, and they're like, yeah, I think we're gonna have some issues with that, and they addressed it early. Maybe GM is now feeling that, but at the same time, I think they are hurting themselves. GM with like the Alcyon platform is what they're betting on right now, and they made it clear that the Bolt EV and the UV are the last generation of our electric vehicle. They're the old generation. It's not the new one.
Yeah, I guess, if they sell the Bolt in 2023, and they sell, I think the Equinox or whatever is coming out, 2023 as well, like, at the
Mm-hmm.
back half of 2023. They can't have, like, a $30,000 Equinox and a $30,000 Bolt on the same
Mm-hmm.
page, so they made the Bolt a lower end
And they might also
product.
just stop selling them altogether at that point. We don't know.
Yeah, very likely.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Like, I have to say, I'm tempted to get one, and because, like, if they're selling used 5 years old for the same price as they are selling for new now, I feel like you could probably sell it on the secondary market or something.
Mm.
Yeah, this is kind of a low investment. And if nothing else, you've got a 66 kilowatt hour battery for $25,000. Like, compare that to a Powerwall.
Yeah.
You're laughing.
I'm gonna skip the Mercedes one. I'm gonna come back to it because I think it's better segue into this comment from Ford, the CEO, that he says that he expect a huge price war coming for electric vehicles with upcoming $25,000 models, which I thought is interesting because a day after he said that, we literally had our first $25,000 model of electric vehicle, which is now the Bolt EV. But before that, like there's been talk about the $25,000 EV for a while. Tesla, of course, was early talking about it, and there was like this design project in China going on. Like there was things were moving, and then until earlier this year in January, when Elon said that they are pausing development on that vehicle and focusing on the Tesla bot and everything. So and the Tesla's kind of put this whole project on the back burner. But Volkswagen came out with the ID Life, which they say is going to cost less than $25,000. So there's things moving on that front, but it looks like it was probably 2024, 2025, something like that. Um, Now Jim Farley says that this is going to create a price war, that people are going to be way more competitive in pricing, um, as the cost of building the electric vehicle, especially the batteries, come down. He noted something interesting. He said that the Mach-E, which starts at $45,000, says that the battery pack alone costs $18,000 to build. So he said he used that as an
That's a big
example.
pack though.
Yeah, it is a big pack, but still for a $45,000 vehicle, you start out with like you remove you just with the battery pack alone, you reduce your the room to achieve a gross margin. You reduce that to 28 $27,000. Like you don't have a car yet. You just have a battery pack, and you have to build everything and have a gross margin within $27,000 for what is a premium vehicle, really. So that's hard to do. But he did mention that Ford is making a lot of improvement with their next generation EV platform, because they realize all the manufacturing cost reduction that you can achieve with building an EV from the ground up. Which, I mean, the Mach-E is technically from the ground up, but it was kind of a first attempt for Ford. Now the first attempt as a EV from the ground up. Now they are seeing some major improvement. He says that building an EV costs half the fixtures, half the workstation, half the welds, 20% less fastener. We designed it because it's such a simple product to radically change the manufacturability. So once they recognize all those improvements, they're gonna achieve a much lower price vehicle. Though they didn't mention anything about Ford building a 25, like no model on the way for now. But he expects them to be coming soon.
That's interesting because Ford really doesn't make a cheap car right now. They don't make. I mean, they don't make cars really. They make
Yeah,
the
they
Mustang,
used to with the Focus and everything, but
maybe an
they kind of,
Escort or a Tempo or a Taurus or
yeah.
something.
I mean, the Maverick is technically not like, what's
That's
the
true.
starting price of that? Isn't that $25,000?
I think it's pretty low. Yeah, something like that. By the way, the Nissan Leaf currently is 27,400. It's pretty low, kind of close to where the Bolt is, but Nissan still has the $7,500 tax credit, although I think it's expiring soon.
Oh
But
yeah, Chatemo too.
it's Chatemo, and it's also 40 kilowatt hour battery
Yeah.
pack. So kind
Yeah, it's hard to compare that to the Bolt, really.
Yeah, the Bolt is much better package all around.
All right, we have a few more news items to discuss, and then we're going to jump into the comment section to answer your questions or discuss some other topics that you want us to get into. So if you have any questions or topics, put them in the comment section right now, and we're going to get to them in a few minutes. The Mercedes-Benz EQB, so it's a little smaller SUV, it got its U.S. prices that was released this week. It is coming at $54,500 for the EQB, which is, as we described, is kind of Mercedes' Model Y competitor, and we know there's a giant market in that segment. So, especially a market that Tesla dominates right now. But there's always room for some competition, and the EQB is coming in there. You have two versions, the 300 4MATIC and 350 4MATIC. The only difference is a little bit more output on the 350, so you get 288 horsepower instead of 225 for the 300 version. And the price starts at, what do you say for? Okay, that was probably without the delivery fee, 54,500. So 55,550 for the lower powered one, and 59,100 for the higher power one. And then you have two different packages that you can add to that for options: the exclusive and the pinnacle. Yeah, there's $1,550 destination and delivery fee. That's what's the difference right there.
So this is bigger than the BMW iX1, right? It's another
it's a little bit bigger. Yeah.
Right.
Oh wow, that's a nice angle of the GV60, and I didn't see it like that before. Not mad at it. The scooter says when it's available in the summer in the US.
That battery pack size, the exact same size as the Chevy Bolt battery pack. So just saying, double the price, same battery pack. And close. I mean, the base horsepower is 225. The Bolt is 200. So
yeah, I mean they don't go with power that much. Mercedes, they don't, like, even like, unless you go with the EQS, but even then it's not the fastest car out there. All right, Buick had a big announcement this week. They say that they're going all electric by 2030, and they unveiled the Wildcat. It's not a production vehicle; it's a concept, but it's supposed to give you an idea where they're going with their electric vehicles in the coming years. The first one, which is going to be called Electra, is coming. I was going to say next year, but now that I screwed up last time, 2024. So it's coming in 2024. Going to be their first all electric vehicle. Well, I say that, but Buick had a bunch of one in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that much on. I
They had like the
remember.
Volt version of the
Yeah,
Volt
yeah,
there.
a nicer looking Volt. Yeah, China, they get all the cool things. This is a
By the
cool
way,
looking car though. It's almost like a wagon look, like a sporty wagon look.
yeah, I mean Buick. So I think Buick calls all their um, prototypes Wildcat, but if you look back at over the years, Buick does some really cool prototypes. Unfortunately, Buicks usually end up looking like Buicks. So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, this one looks more like the prototype.
Yeah, I guess it looks pretty cool. Well, yeah, what they say is that by 2030, every model in their portfolio is going to be all electric.
That's a pretty. I mean, that's pretty much like there's not going to be any new introductions of vehicles that are going to have ICE. I almost like
Oh, there is no.
how could you introduce a new vehicle and have it go a full run rate and be all electric by
Mhm.
2030? I don't know.
It wouldn't be a good investment for sure.
Yeah,
They also unveiled this new tri-shield logo to mark the new era, the new electric era in the Buick brand.
it's very French
Yeah,
or
bleu,
Dutch,
bleu
depending which
blanc
way.
rouge, or the Montreal Canadian, bleu blanc rouge. All right, the last one is Aptera, which I was really surprised by how popular was that post. So I'll include it because people seem to be very following this program very closely. I mean, we've been interested in this program for a while because I mean, we part of Electrek. A lot of thing that brought us to electric vehicle is just the efficiency. We're just a fan of efficiencies, and that car is efficiency incarnated. Really,
Yep.
the whole idea is to because there's something so cool about the idea of having solar on a car and you don't even need to charge it. You just even as you drive the car, it charges itself with solar. You can just leave it parked for a day and then it charges up. Like this is so cool, but it never truly makes sense beyond um either contouring what we call the vampire drain, which is the amount of energy that the car used just sitting around anyway. So contouring that, which is cool. It's a little like we're powering a few things or adding 2 or 3 miles of range per day, which is not much, but like this is nice. It made sense only if you go with the solar race car, like those work completely by themselves on solar with the battery pack, of course, but they can technically run by themselves. This is nice too, but you going from that to a consumer product seems impossible. Aptera thinks that they found a way between that. They found a way to go, sorry, from like just a compromise between super efficiency, but good enough to be used as a consumer vehicle. Of course, they use kind of a loophole by actually it's registered as a motorcycle, so you don't have to have all the requirements of safety of an electric vehicle, though they do build the equivalent of a roll cage in it, so obviously you're much safer than in a motorcycle. There's no doubt about that. But there's gotta be, when you're talking about this kind of efficiency, there's gonna be some compromises. And the big thing here is obviously the drag coefficient. What did we say about the DeLorean being very good at 0.23? I think
Right.
this is 0.13. Like
Right.
this is you cannot highlight how big of a difference it is. And the DeLorean will already look super efficient type vehicle, but this is obviously like the covered wheels have been there for teardrop shape with the flattened back here. Like this is not things that you would see in a normal car. This is all about efficiency. But Aptera ended up with a design that is actually like a good two-seater vehicle with a little bit of luggage spare in the back. And with that kind of insane efficiency, what you get is you get with a relatively small battery pack, you can get a long range. And also, even if you have less room for solar on it, the solar is going to count for more because it takes less energy to travel a few miles. So you actually contribute to more. Depending on the option that you choose, because you can choose to have just solar on the hood, solar on the hood and the roof, solar on the hood and the roof and the tail. If you choose the whole thing, you can add up to 40 miles of range a day, which normally I'd say it's completely crazy. But when you have a drag coefficient of 0.13, I'm thinking like, yeah, I mean, at this point, it can be possible if you have like the best, most efficient solar cells on them.
Yeah, the I think the CEO said that the drag on the Aptera is the equivalent of the F-150 mirror, just the side mirrors on the
Well, yeah,
F-150.
I don't know if the F-150 or if you have to go bigger than that, but like, they have the large mirrors too sometimes. I
Yeah,
guess and those are like basically
but
air
just
brakes.
those,
They're
not
parachutes.
just the
Yeah,
mirrors.
yeah.
And then it's also the equivalent of pushing like a 1 foot by 1 foot box down the road. So
Uh,
a flat box. So it's pretty good.
yeah.
They did a really good job with that. I just wish they would make these things already.
Yeah, but the other thing that's really attractive to people is the price too. It starts at 25,900. That's for a 250 miles version. So they know like 250 miles is good for most people. Like so they knew that. And then if you go full solar panel on it on that thing, like you basically never need to charge that car. Like the car is going to charge itself all the time. Then you can sprung for the $30,000 version, which get 400 miles, $35,000 version for 600 miles, and then you can even have 1,000 miles version, which is excessive, but some people just they want that kind of like security. Then that's gonna cost you $45,000. But why did we write on them this week? Is that they are about to close their financing round. They have a financing round closing, I think, this weekend. They um but and to like talk people into investing. They announced the number of reservation that they have. They reached 22,000 reservation for the vehicle, which is the equivalent of a potential for 800 million in sales. Which of course that's with 100% take rate, which is obviously not going to happen. But they do require $100 deposit, so there is some seriousness in the reservation if you're placing $100. But it can be 70 if you use a referral code. So most people, I would assume, are paying just $70. But yeah, we were excited about the Aptera. Like they're talking about delivering the first unit later this year, but it looks like it's going to be pretty much like hand built units from their current campus, and we're going to have to wait a few years until they ramp up production with a full size factory.
Yeah, and if they do like everybody else, the employees will be getting the first round.
Yeah, but again, because it's like it's a motorcycle, whatever. Like it doesn't. It's much easier to manufacture than a normal car because they don't have all the same requirements since it's classified as a motorcycle. Because it's classified as a motorcycle, though, I don't know if like here we're gonna have like in Quebec, if I would have to have a helmet. I don't know what are the rules on that.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, even if it's enclosed.
What about um the fun utility vehicle? The
Yeah, but Kirimoto, they're not here, but uh, like the T Rex and things like that, people have to have a helmet on.
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
But T
No.
Rex, I guess, is not completely enclosed, so
Right.
that might be the difference maker. All right, I think we're ready for the questions.
All right, moving there. Um all the way back before we started, Dan Oberst. How much money do you think Chevy will be losing per bolt sold at 25K?
I think it might be right on the money on it. Like I think that might be it. I think it might cost about $25,000 to make that car.
Yeah, it sounds about right to me. Like why lower it down to a loss when it seems
Yeah.
like, but it's hard to say. They're
I mean, they
certainly not.
probably got a good deal on those batteries, on those latest batteries from LG.
That's true. Yeah, LG
He
probably
like,
gave him a break
yeah.
on that,
You probably gave them a good deal on that after the whole mess.
and there's not a lot of marketing costs because they don't do any marketing for that thing. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, all the pieces are there. All right, moving on. Looks like Buick is going to offer the Dodge Challenger to customers. Drawing looks pretty cool. I think he
The
means
Wildcat. It
the
means the
Wildcat.
Wildcat EV concept looks like a Dodge Challenger. I don't know about that. Though I
Yeah,
haven't looked at the Challengers for a while. No, yeah, I get it. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, you can kind of see it.
Mm.
I mean, it's like an American muscle car, I guess. All right, Jiminy Stack, regarding the Tesla work stuff. I worked in India 6 days a week, 10 hours a day was normal. I Hong
Yeah,
Kong. Hong Kong
normal.
also has
Was
that.
it good?
No. Yeah, in Hong Kong, the Saturdays you'd get like a 6 hour Saturday. And that was
Oh,
like a really nice perk. Uh, all right, moving along. Question: have you guys seen the FTN Motion Street Dog? Beta bikes rolling out now, 100-kilometer range scooter. I think it could be up your alley. Come to New Zealand for a review. So I
well,
actually did take a
invite
look at
us to
that.
New Zealand. I'll come.
Yeah. If anybody at FTN Motion is listening, we'll go. And I might as well plug the Wheel E podcast, which is tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's
With
my word question for the
with
wheelie guys, which are Seth and Micah.
yeah. And I did take a look at it, and it kind of looks like something we have here called the Onyx Racer. Maybe a cooler version of that, but yes, those are very popular. All right, Jonathan Root, authoritarian Elon, the brain drain will be real. Great reason for Tesla to unionize. Uh-oh. That's probably why the comments went crazy there.
Well, I mean, the way Elon sees it is like, well, everyone that is going to lose through that request to go remote, or it's not a problem losing them. So I guess he sees it like that. Though he did mention in the original email that, oh, if some exceptional people, I can make some exceptions. But he says he's going to review all the exception himself, which assures that there's not going to be a lot of requests for exception, because
Right.
there's not a lot of people at Tesla that willingly will ask to be reviewed by Elon Musk. I think.
Yeah.
From what I hear, it's not the least stressful way to go about your job.
All right. Hopefully we got beyond that. Sarah E says as much range as an SR Plus. I wonder what that was, probably around the Bolt time.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
All right, we're still talking about oh yeah, that was about the DeLorean.
I mean, the original DeLorean has an interesting story. Like, I don't remember where the documentary I saw about it, but or was it a book? I don't remember. But uh, like, they got screwed pretty bad too. Like, there was a lot. Like, I mean, I don't remember the guy that, but there was too much politics involved. Like, they ended up building the car in Ireland because of the politics. The incentive helped them there, but then you end up building a car in Ireland where most of the market is in the US. Like, it is a lot there was a lot of issues, and then of course at the end of the thing, it was the cocaine deal that the CEO made to to pay the employees, which was complete entrapment by the FBI or the DEA. I don't remember who was involved, but the US government, the law enforcement really screwed that guy bad. Like,
Yeah.
he was not a drug dealer at all, and they went out of their way to entrap him into a big coke deal because he knew he was trapped for cash, and he literally did it to keep the company surviving and keep paying his employee. So not well. If it wasn't from that, the company would probably went bankrupt anyway. But I don't know. There was a lot of shady things happening around it. I don't. They had a pretty good product that people like.
Yeah, it was interesting and unique, obviously.
Yeah, unique.
All right. Moving on. Ron King says, question: EV are now 5% of the USA market. What do you think it'll be at the year end? What do you think ICE sales will be at the end of the year? Down to about 12 million at the end of May 2022. Yep. I mean, we're definitely going ICE down, EVs up. I don't know what the
Yeah, I
market.
mean, here's the interesting thing. New car sales, new ICE car sale peaked in 2017. Of course, there was some reason that have nothing to do with EVs bringing that, but that's what happened. In 2022, the fleet of ICE vehicle has peaked. It's now going down. This is interesting because, of course, the focus is always on new car sale because that's pretty much all you can do. You can, instead of buying a nice car, you buy an EV, and eventually the fleet is going to replace over time. But we knew that replacing the whole fleet is going to take a lot of time. but at least we knew that we're going in the right direction now, because as of now in the US, the whole fleet of ICE car has peaked, meaning that there's more EVs getting into the market, uh, and ICE car being salvaged, being retired, that the EV fleets is growing overall enough to compensate for that, and the ICE fleet is going down. So this is very interesting. Now, to Ron's question, by the end of the year, I think the jumps are going to be super quick. Like as soon as, like, this year's a little bit production limited again. So I say probably no more than 7 or 8%. I would think. But next year, I wouldn't be surprised if it doubles next year and you see like a 15, 16%. And 2024, it's going to be in the US. Again, like the US is far behind a lot of the market. I see it 20, 30%. And a lot of that is not about new EVs coming to market and production volume growing, but also just people deciding not to buy an ICE if they cannot get an EV. They will just like, I'm not going to invest $30,000 in the technology that's obsolete.
Yep. All right, moving on. Jimmy Stack, we're talking about Aptera now. The Aptera is so efficient. Solar will work great, 10 miles per kilowatt hour. That's impressive. And he has one on order, and the coefficient of drag 13.13 for the Aptera, lightweight as well.
Yeah, it is super lightweight too. That's a good point.
Dan's got some cold water to throw on that, though. Trike vehicles suck because of the inability to straddle potholes.
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Mean, that's not really like. I mean,
I
don't know how many potholes are around, but
come drive here in Quebec.
Yeah,
that's all. Like
we're not great here.
Like when I'm I love autopilot. It's great. Like it removes a lot of stress for driving and everything. But all I'm doing when I autopilot, I'm like looking at the road to see the potholes, so I can take over and try to get around them, because the autopilot doesn't do it. And it is a full-time job just doing that.
All right, Roller 20 says Aptera is considered an autocycle, not a motorcycle, so don't think a helmet is ever required.
Yeah, I know that's the case in some market, but I'm thinking here in Quebec, I don't know if we have that category of auto cycle, whatever you call it.
All right, do you think Tesla's new manganese cathode battery will oust LFP?
Not house LFP. I think all viable battery chemistries are going to be used, including LFP. I know you might say that based on last week we talked about the new manganese one with the century old, 100-year battery or something, and the way that the study was framed in comparison to LFP, and it favorably compared to LFP. But I don't think that would mean that it would replace LFP. I think it's another alternative, and Tesla's going to use every battery they can get their hands on, really. Every viable battery they can get their hands on.
Yeah. All right. Follow-up question: is there really a Leaf coming out, or will it always be CHAdeMO and 50 kilowatt charging? I think he means a new Leaf. I think the Leaf is pretty close to the end of its cycle. The Aria, Nissan Aria, is coming out.
When is that coming?
So they are on the street in Japan.
Yeah, but here,
who knows? But the Aria's got CCS combo, so that's kind of the nail in the coffin of CHAdeMO. Maybe a Leaf with CCS combos coming out at some point. I don't know. New redesigned Leaf. He wants a $20,000 Nissan Versa EV. Good luck there. Question: do you think Tesla's distractions with robots, AI, Twitter, Bitcoin, etc., is giving competitors a window to catch up? Well, that's really mostly Elon's distractions.
Yeah, I mean Tesla. A lot of people tell me that. Like a lot of long-time Tesla investors that are just fed up with what Elon's rhetoric lately, and becoming political for no apparent clear reason other than Biden doesn't like me or whatever. It's frustrating for a lot of people. And they're like, should I just sell my Tesla stock? Like, because the way they see it, and I'm not saying that I share exactly this view, but it's like they think that the CEO of the company is kind of losing it for a bit.
Yeah.
which I don't think I have. If if my language doesn't make it clear, I have serious concern about him going political for no clear reason. But thing is, like you talk about a competitor catching up, Tesla is still selling every car it can make, and it's still making a lot more cars than anybody else, and it's still growing faster than anybody else in the production capacity. So as long as these are the case, Tesla's still going to dominate the EV market, and that's it. Like those distraction, the robot might be like the robot and AI put them together might be like the only real distraction that affects Tesla. I don't think I think Twitter might not affect the Tesla stock. Bitcoin also affect the Tesla stock, but like on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't take any kind of manpower, engineering power from Tesla, and eh, away from the core products. I don't think.
Yeah. All right. Last question, I believe. Uh, how are hybrids counted in the fleet of ICE cars? Are they counted toward ICE, toward EVs, or ignored? Regarding peak ICE fleet of 2022, first time I heard this. I think it depends on the survey.
Yeah, from my understanding, the non it's plug-in and non-plug-in basically. So depends how you consider a hybrid. But if it's a hybrid without a plug, generally it gets counted in highs because the only way to power the car is with an internal combustion engine. Plugins, because you have at least the option, counts towards EV. But what we've been seeing though lately is well, in the US less so, but more in other markets. So probably in the US it's going to happen too. Is plug-in and hybrids are falling too right now. It's like all electric or nothing basically.
All right, that's it for the questions.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. That was a fun show. A lot of questions, a lot of different news, a lot of different subject, and we appreciate you listening. And if you're still listening to the end, appreciate you even more. And if you did like the show, please give us a thumbs up or a like. It's always appreciated and it helps the algorithm. I'll praise the algorithm. And then we're gonna see